Oh, hello. Thank you for coming in. I'm Mandy Nolan, you're probably aware of that. I thought I should tell you just in case you're not. Welcome to TalkBank. I'd also like to also say and acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded, and this is Aboriginal land, always was, always will be. So welcome to TalkBank. This is the end result of our weekend class with 10 people. There's only 8 left. They got sick in the night, which happens a lot when I'm teaching people. I'm not sure. I think it was real. It was very well. I think it was often when people get sick when you're teaching them, part of you goes, oh yeah, sure you were. But I really do think that it might have been the food I cooked, I don't know. But so we do have 8 people here today. It's a shame that they can't be here, but you're going to really enjoy the end result of a very quick process that we sort of try and work with people to sort of work on sort of their authenticity, their personal narratives and finding their story. After teaching people for, I don't know, like 20 years, who hasn't done my comedy course? And I never got to you. I'll come round to your house. I think I taught 2,500 people over 20-something years, and I thought, I'm going to have a brain aneurysm if I have to listen to one more person tell a joke. And after that time, I was more interested in their stories, and sometimes, as much as I love the humour, sometimes it felt like you were diluting a lot of the potency of what they were talking about and their kind of much deeper stories by constantly, looking for the humour in it. So your husband died, what was the funny part? It's kind of like, this doesn't really feel appropriate. And not that it's ever stopped me. But for other people, it sort of felt like a more meaningful thing to go, okay, what if we step up and actually start to tell our stories? I'm about to introduce a fellow facilitator in just a moment to talk a little bit more about our process. Not a huge amount, but just what we have been doing over this weekend. I was remembering and reflecting back, because this is an area where most people say speaking is the place that they feel most exposed. Because it's just you. You feel like being looked at. I love it. It's the first place I actually felt okay. I didn't like not being listened to, which was a problem. But I do remember do you remember your first performance? I remember it was in kindergarten graduation, because I come from a small town, like a little tiny country town, so any time you reached a milestone, they thought we better put on a graduation ceremony because she may not go any further. So they weren't big educators where I came from, so I made it to kindergarten. I even had the little hat and the thing, and my mum and dad were lying in the bed, and they go, I was 3, because I remember, they made me practice coming in, like we did with these guys, and they go, now you have to bow. And I went, what? They go, now you have to bow. I remember walking out and just going, this is weird. I went, okay. I went, bow wow. Whatever you want, whatever adults rock with, that's cool. Bow wow. At which point, I just remember them piecing themselves laughing. And it was really interesting, because I came from an incredibly violent, dysfunctional family. There's one moment, I had this beautiful moment of making both of my parents laugh. I think that seeded a really deep thing in me where I love being a comedian. I love that ability to get it wrong and bring some people together. And that's a little part of my narrative that I'm sort of seeding through as part of leading into this. So that's what we try to do with people. It's really not just about what what do you want to talk about, what's your passion, it's how are you engaged in this, where do you sit, and how are you going to connect with people. In the process of coming to, getting this idea happening, growing out of what I've been doing, I met an old friend of mine who'd sort of been in a similar space, working with people, and we went, well, why don't we do it together, that we can bring lots of our skills together to create something that we really felt was missing when working with people and curating their stories. Because I think the most powerful thing we have often is our stories.